Next is Urbmobile. And this is one that I don't believe it ever existed in any real form. So it's another really early one. And this is a dual mode system. So the idea was that you'd have this little electric car. It had like 40 miles of range. And you'd take it home and then you would drive it back to your like on-ramp point and get onto this guideway where you'd get shot up to like 80 miles per hour or 60 and ride along the guideway to your destination. So dual mode was like a pretty big thing through the 60s. This one was developed by Cornell. And again, it was kind of like the project of two guys. But this one was rubber tired, except this one actually is steel wheels on rails, and you can kind of see it in this picture.
You kind of see them underneath. Oh, this potentially breaks the system because there are steel rails on steel wheels there.
What if
steel wheels on steel rails rather? Yeah, I mean the first thing that strikes me looking at this, Alexandra, is like this is just the Boring Company loop concept.
Yes,
again.
It is, and.
Just,
exactly. Reading through these, I just kept thinking over and over, like, we are literally inventing this over and over.
Yeah.
And there's a funny quote from one of the articles about this where they say that they pretty much have all the technology to build it. One of the engineers is like, all the equipment needed is essentially state of the art. That doesn't mean it's off the shelf, but we know how to build it. So they're like also in this world of like, yeah, it's only 5 years away.
Yeah. It's just so many things that are just like absolutely familiar to like driverless cars and all this sort of FM nonsense.
Yeah.
Like it's so familiar. Yeah.
And I think it's kind of funny in this one. The highway is like almost like open and clear and empty.
Yeah.
And they're all like queued up in this like really tight traffic. But
it's a remarkably accurate portrayal of the fact that you go into the tube and you're stuck in traffic. Yeah.
This is like the Tesla Las Vegas tube. But they noted that in one of the descriptions. They said that like the cars would be able to run like milliseconds apart.
Oh my God.
And their quote is that all the vehicles are designed to run at exactly 60 miles per hour. So if one of them gets too close, they'll just nudge each other gently.
Oh my goodness.
At 60 miles per hour.
Oh my. This how often I have this babble from people who are like defending Boring Companies, people who defend the loop as anything other than a taxi tunnel. And they're like, oh yeah, but the cars eventually will be able to run right next to each other. It's like, no, they won't.
Nope.
They won't.
They will not.
It's made up.
They haven't been able to for the last 60 years, and they're not going to for the next 60.
Yeah, but now we have LiDAR. That makes everything work magically. Anyway, yes. So this is this mock-up is like so many mock-ups that are like painting the car utopia of the future. You know, everyone's in here not driving. They're playing chess, or they're smoking, or they're engaging in light fornication, or whatever it happens to be. And,
this guy's like lighting her cigarette. It's like a very sexy moment on the freeway.
Yeah. And they don't have to pay attention to whatever they're about to wall up in front of them because it's fine because they're all going at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's going to be a gentle nudge.
Yeah, for sure.
So next page kind of shows some of the vaporware behind it. So this
vaporware is right, yeah.
It shows like the rubber tires and then the flange steel wheels on the inside that were supposed to drop down when it enters the guideway. And then also how it would come off of third rail power for its guideway trip.
Yeah.
And this is, so not exactly Urbmobile, but I just wanted to tell this story. But a similar, like adjacent project of another like dual mode car. Actually, a couple of them got together. They were like student projects. And the Ford Motor Company gave them $20,000 and a Mustang to develop this like third rail technology over a summer. So at some point in like 1969-ish, around there was a third rail power Ford Mustang.
This is
which I think is just like the funniest thing to imagine.
God, can you imagine putting that thing? Well, certainly for everyone in the chat, can you imagine putting that thing down in like in like I don't know, putting it on the third rail in Denmark Hill and driving it around in South London on the third rail network. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. That's quite. I love the idea of like this like white room, everyone in like science coats and like getting all boffiny, reinventing something that is like at that very moment was hauling knackered Mark One like commuter stock around South London, like it was absolutely normal. Also, they have third rail in New York as well, didn't they? They have a third rail system there, I think, and. So it's like
there are a couple of third rail systems, but you just have to reinvent it to make it work with your car.
Dear me, I love there's all the weird and wacky stuff that they pay a lot of attention to. I love that there's a television, obviously.
Of course.
And then this totally indecipherable destination signal, which I presume is some barcode for firing the thing in the right direction.
Yeah. So I believe the description they had was like there would be a like spool of cloth inside of it that would have like all the barcode destinations pre-printed.
Wow.
And so when you select yours, it would like rotate that spool and show your destination barcode, and the system would like scan you as you go. Urbmobile was supposed to have self-switching. So I think that would just inform your vehicle about which track to switch to.
So it's just yet another thing that has to be read correctly. They'd have to develop some camera that can be accurate enough. Another thing I've noticed here, which makes me laugh, so that there a lot with modern gadget band stuff. There's often like there are a few telltale like phrases that get used that show that it's nonsense because they've just picked a sciencey sounding technology word to make the thing sound fancy. Autonomous is a good one. Often, like you see new transport systems being proposed, certainly here in the UK, and if it has the word autonomous in it, you can basically write it off as a load of nonsense. This one I love because you've got electric drive motor. Electric motors are not new, but it's printed circuit type, which means that means it's magical.
It's advanced.
Yeah,
you couldn't do that with another circuit type. Only printed.
yeah. Oh my goodness.
So Urbmobiles were intended not to just be like one type of car, but it would be like a design standard for existing car manufacturers. And, like you would own your own Urbmobile, or there would be like a fleet of Urbmobiles you could take home. And these were kind of one of like the downfalls of Urbmobile and dual mode as a concept was like, nobody really wants to allow people to just like take home a publicly owned transit vehicle.
Yeah.
But there was one final development of Urbmobile on the next slide that I think is like a interesting conclusion that just like takes it to the next level. So the final development of Urbmobile, one of the later additions, was that it would not run on like a concrete guideway or like steel rails on a guideway like it was showing before, but instead a magnet would pick up your Urbmobile and put it on a suspended monorail.
Oh my gosh.
And whisk you along like that.
Magnaline. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is wild.
Yeah, so like imagine the power goes out and you're being held onto this thing by an electromagnet. And suddenly you're dropped down into what's down there below, the 100-mile-per-hour lane.
Yeah. It's just like, oh my goodness, carnage. Yeah. I love the chutzpah that goes into someone drawing this diagram and going, yep, that'll work. That's solid. No problems there. Wow, just incredible.
Yeah, just
a
beautiful,
just like a Herbmobile and regular cars. So you're just driving along and your thing gets electromagneted up into the sky, and you get whisked along on this janky overhead system.
Yeah, and I think that was like the idea was like, not everybody's going to buy a brand new electric Herbmobile, but we could just pick up people's cars they already own and just shoot them along this monorail, like, which would totally work because like all cars are such a similar size and standard. And, like,
I mean, there are lots of. What year was this kind of probably sketched up then? Was this late 60s still, or was it?
So I think this one comes from like the final report that mentions Urbmobile, which is Metro Trans 2000, which is like this huge like volume of like every system that we were going to have by the year 2000. And I think this was written about 1970 or 71.
Oh, okay, yeah. because what I'm looking at here is about that time, not all cars were monocoque, and I'm not sure all cars would necessarily structurally cope with being lifted up by the roof. I have a feeling.
Yeah, you've got your like 50s Cadillac where just
lifts
like
the roof off
panels are falling off.
Oh dear, yeah, that's glorious. That is something to behold. That is a wonderful, wonderful diagram there.